And tonight on our Great American panel, he is the host of the John Phillips Show on Talk Radio 790, my radio affiliate in Los Angeles. John Phillips is here. She is a radio talk show host, former senior speechwriter for Senator Bill Frist, Republican strategist, now out of exile. Amy Holmes is with us, and he's an actor best known for his role in the series Hercules and currently stars in the newly released film What If, now available on DVD. Let's take a sneak peek.
Seriously, Carl, why do you want to get married?
Because we love each other.
Want my opinion? This isn't love. It's hormones. Carl, how much money do you make per month?
What?
And I'm guessing your after-tax income isn't much more than $3K, am I right?
It's something like that.
I mean, once you bring your girl into the mix, the monthly nut doubles. I mean, that's not going to kill you, but once she's got a bun in the oven and stops working, are you going to be ready for that? And even if we assume that you get your income up the typical 10% over the next couple of years, that's not going to be nearly enough to protect you from all the money arguments that cause over 50% of divorces. And then you two are going to be back in here saying, Pastor Ben, why didn't you stop us? Why don't you stage some sort of intervention?
Actor Kevin Sorbo, I'm a big fan. Glad to see you. Thanks for being with us.
It's good to be here.
You doing okay? By the way, he was wrestling with his daughter, so you.
No, my 6-year-old son. He got the better part of me. Look at that. I look
no, you don't look
nasty.
bad. It doesn't
looks like a Terminator.
It doesn't. Well, we're glad you came.
It's good to be here.
Glad you're okay. All right, look, you're Hollywood, Charlie Sheen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a part of me that kind of, like, I guess maybe like everybody else, voyeuristic. You kind of like that he's outspoken and saying it all, and everyone's freaking out about what he's saying. I kind of like that part, but here's the dangerous part. If he's blowing banging 7 gram rocks, that's what I'm beginning to worry about the guy. I don't want to see. I don't want him
beginning to worry.
Well, all right. With all that has happened, especially in recent months, you know, he seems out of control.
Yeah.
And you know, reckless. And I don't want him to become a statistic.
Neither do I.
What is it about? Why is this happen so often in Hollywood?
You know, it's weird. It's such a strange reality in Hollywood. I mean, that's why you have the highest divorce rate probably of any profession that's out there. And I was on the show. I guest starred on the show a couple years ago. And he was a classy guy. I got to say that I didn't find any tension on the set. I found everybody relaxed. Everybody's fun. He was great towards me. I've met him a few times in social situations prior to that, through, you know, in the 80s and even 90s. And yeah, he likes his nightlife. And I think just people, there's an indestructible thing that people have in Hollywood, and there's an entitlement thing that goes on as well. Yeah. And it's sad. It's sad to see what's going on with him, because I think he's a very talented man. And
you know, a friend of mine who's a real good conservative, I won't mention his name, he's a well-known writer, knew him, worked with him, said he was a real pro, real professional. Yeah. Look, I'll never forget him in Wall Street. I mean, he was phenomenal.
Well, Platoon. He was in Platoon.
Yeah, he's a great actor. Yeah. And is it that I've always said fame is unhealthy. You know, because all human beings have an ego. All human beings have a little selfish side. We have that little demon within us. Everyone's struggling between good and evil. And it's like there's something about fame that seems extraordinarily unhealthy.
I think that's right. And actually, Anthony Hopkins said very recently that human beings were just not built to withstand this kind of superstardom. And with Charlie Sheen, I don't know if what we're seeing is narcissism that bleeds into drug addiction. You know, I'm not a shrink. I'll play one on TV for your purposes. But
so you're not tired of pretending you're a bitch and rock star.
No. But I think here, I mean, how do you tell Charlie Sheen you're not the center of the universe, when in fact right now he is?
You know, I've exchanged a few emails with him, and as we went on, I found that I tried to get a little more, come on, Charlie, wake up, you're smarter than this. And that's when they stopped, interestingly. You know, and I'm sure there are people around him telling him the same thing. Obviously, I never liked his father's political views. I think his father's a great actor. And obviously his father and brother are trying to wake him up. It's not working.
Well, you know, he says that he's off drugs now, Sean, but if you look at the interviews with him, he just looks horrible. He looks awful. He looks bad physically. He sounds bad. He's got the jazz hands, the Jimmy legs. And I think that he might actually be off drugs, but he may have fried his brain. And it's just sad to see that happen.
Is it that, or do most people that are on drugs, my friend Bob Beckles, a former addict, he spends all his free time helping people that struggle with addictions. Is it that when you get off drugs, whatever the underlying problems are, that cause you to use them begin to manifest? Is it more?
Well, I think you do chemical damage to your brain, too, because he's making up his own language. I mean, it's like Dr. Seuss if Dr. Seuss were on crack. I mean, the words that he's using.
Well, I think the last
We're all
20-some
psychoanalyzing
years,
him, and by the way, he'd be laughing at that.
But the last 20-some years of him doing these drugs is certainly it's taken its toll on him. I watch the show. I like 2.5 Men. I laugh at it. And you look at this season, he doesn't look healthy to me.
This season,
there's a change in him. There's a gauntness to him, and
there's another question
caught up to him. I think.
And actually, one of the New York tabloids had the story today about the porn star, I guess, that had the problem with him in New York at the hotel when he
cowering in the bathroom, naked, right?
Right, that one.
As you would do.
Well, apparently, she's saying, listen, I don't think people in my profession, porn stars, ought to be hanging around kids.
Wow. You know, I got to hand it to her.
Pretty young girl.
Absolutely. And that's the thing here with this situation. And, you know, Bill Maher, he just said, I think it was on the Tonight Show, that, you know.
I really love quoting Bill Maher. He's the great philosopher of our time.
If he wants to do drugs, if he doesn't hurt anybody, that's his business. But he is hurting people. And he has 4 very young children.
He's also got 5 kids altogether.
He has 5 altogether, adult daughter, but 4 young children. And, I mean, you couldn't help but cringe when you saw the video of him holding his baby and talking about with his goddesses that we're one big family. Watching that, I thought, I hope Child Protective Services is watching this, too.
Oh, they came and took the kids.
They did take the kids.
Was that the right decision?
Oh, absolutely. If you're raising your kids in what's essentially some sort of porn star compound, you know, can you think of any more unhealthy of an environment to raise a child in?
I mean, when I got married, I got rid of my porn star compound.
Did you have one?
I'm done.
What about the
I'm an actor. What do you
By the way,
think,
this
John?
fame thing doesn't happen to talk show hosts. Maybe O'Reilly, I don't know, but it doesn't happen to Hannity. All right, we got to take a break. We'll come back. We have a lot more with our great American panel coming up right after this. And we continue now with our great American panel. All right, so Eric Holder was criticized this week, the Attorney General. He uses the comment, my people, when talking about the Black Panther case. Now this calls for him to resign. What does that mean, my people? I thought we were all the American people. I thought we were all God's children in that sense. Does that comment offend you at all?
Yeah, it does a little bit. I think that the racism issue is perpetuated a lot by the people who scream racism all the time.
Yeah.
And I think there has to be an end to it someplace, somewhere, somehow. I mean, I have found people like Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, guys, that, you know, if they lose, if they actually got what they say they believe in, came to fruition, they'd be out of a job.
Why are there so, I mean, you're a pretty big star in Hollywood. Why are there so few conservatives out in Hollywood?
I think people are afraid. You know, it seems like it's a club in Hollywood. It seems like it's a club to say that you're a liberal, and if you don't be part of that club, then people will frown on you. I mean, Hollywood screams for freedom of speech, but they will not let you, if you don't agree with what they say, they have a problem with that, and it's a problem.
What do you think about Holder?
I think it was totally inappropriate for him to be saying this, particularly in his capacity as Attorney General, that equality before the law is a bedrock principle of, you know, the American system. I mean, we hold these truths to be self-evident. But when you ask about, you know, my people, privately, if Eric Holder feels a certain racial solidarity, I have no problem with that. And I understand it completely. And you see other ethnic groups. I work with 2 Irish Catholic guys that talk about, you know, being Irish Catholic all the time. So I think on that personal level, I don't have a problem with it.
Probably related to him.
Yeah, probably, right. But as Attorney General, it's totally, thoroughly inappropriate.
You know, there's been issues that have come up. There's this new, did you heard about this new book that came out, and U.S. News, the writer, and he talks about an incident where Barack Obama, back in May, I think it was 2009 or 10, you know, was describing the Tea Party and that there was a racial element to the Tea Party, and we've learned there's no evidence whatsoever of that. And I'm putting that together, black liberation theology and Michelle Obama, America's a downright mean country in 2008. I don't know what the president's motivation is. Does he really believe that America thinks this way? Because America, I don't think, was looking at color in 2008. I think they were looking at who they thought was going to best lead the country. I tried to point out that he was not the right person. I was not successful, but I don't think people were looking at race.
Yeah, you know, at some mansion somewhere in Texas right now, Ross Perot saying to himself, see, I was right, he was listening to me, you people. As much as Eric Holder sounds like he's just on the moon or insane, is what he's doing is he is out there and he's the face of the Obama agenda. He's not saying anything that President Obama doesn't believe in, that the administration doesn't believe in. He's just the guy who's the punching bag. He is what Hillary Clinton was to the Bill Clinton administration.
Yeah,
but let's get back to what Obama said. And to me, when I saw that, I was so disappointed that one of the things that we were so hopeful was that Obama could move us forward, President Obama, I should say, and for him
you can call him the anointed.
for him to be, casting aspersions on the Tea Party, which, by the way, in exit polling, we found that 40% of voters were sympathetic and believed in the Tea Party's, agenda. But for Barack Obama not to recognize, he won 53% of the vote, which is more than George Bush did, who's white, more than Al Gore did in 2000, who's white, more than Bill Clinton did, who's white. And that says something about the American people and about our character that I was so proud of on Election Day, even if I didn't necessarily agree with the president's policies.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I've seen a couple different polls that came out after the president was elected, and it was like 95 to 97%, I believe, of the black population voted for him. Mm-hmm. To me, I would call it sort of a racist vote, in a way. If you had that the other way around, people would have screamed racism. Don't you think people would have screamed racism on that?
90 to 95% of the black population votes Democratic. They just pull the Democratic lever, so he had a D behind his name as well.
I guess you can say it. But I mean, I've worked with a lot of people in Hollywood.
Well, let me reverse his point. If, say, 90% of the white population voted for a white candidate, would people then examine is white America racist? That did not happen in 2008. And by the way, I think it's good for race relations. But I just want the best person.
What was the percentage of white people that voted for Obama? Probably pretty high.
It was a majority.
Yeah, very high. Yeah. So, and as I say, it's disappointing that President Obama would not recognize that it's so important to the American people that he move us forward and not, enmesh us in these issues.
All right, last question.
In that way.
I'll ask very quickly. Who would be the best Republican to run against President Obama?
Plenty.
Chris Christie, but he won't.
Chris Christie.
All right, forget it. He's not running. Next guess.
Oh, okay. I'll decide closer to 2012.
That is such a cop-out. Come on, give me somebody.
Gosh, well, we haven't even had the primary. We haven't even seen the debates.
Best off the top of your head.
Strengths and weaknesses. I don't know. There's not a front runner for me yet.
Sarah Palin.
Sarah Palin.
I'd go for Sarah Palin.
All right. That's all the time we have left. Guys, thanks for being with us. Hope your eye's better.
Me too.
What is next? We'll see you.
Johnny don't like the teacher. Johnny don't like the school. One day Johnny gonna do something, show him he's nobody's fool. Oh yeah.